Hi everyone, it's Gary Nicholson here for the Mountain Weather Information Service. This is your Planning Outlook video updated on Friday the 5th of May. Now, high pressure is still in charge and dry conditions will prevail through the weekend and into much of next week. In fact, some very dry conditions out there underfoot. We've already seen some fires break out across the northwestern highlands in particular, and that risk of grass fires will just continue over these next few days. So just be aware of that one when you're heading out onto the hills. Temperatures generally fairly mild, nothing too spectacular, but in some strong sunshine, feeling very pleasant. And it looks as though we're looking at a breakdown developing heading towards the end of next week, which will lead in to a more unsettled outlook heading into the middle part of May. So let's have a look at the latest charts. Now, this is total rainfall. This through until Thursday of next week, and it sets the scene really for still dry conditions across the country as a whole. Those areas across western and southwestern Scotland, northwest England particularly, seeing the driest conditions of all. A few spits and spots may just come into northern Scotland, but don't expect a great deal. And likewise, just across Wales there, the model just picking up on the risk of a little bit of rain around from Saturday's front, although I really don't think it amounts to a great deal. So even that may well be overdone. The message basically is still a dry story for the week ahead. Now, this was the scene from earlier on today, looking north above Glencoe. This webcam image courtesy of Winter Highland, and just glorious blue skies once again, as they have been for much of this week. I suspect a bit more cloud cover getting into the forecast going forwards over the coming days, so not quite this extensive blue sky vista, but still a pretty decent outlook on the whole. Now, we're concentrating attentions on the middle and later part of next week in this video, but just to briefly set the scene over this weekend, here's Saturday's synoptic chart. High pressure is to the north, we've got that easterly flow still with us. The wind easing down a little bit through the day, so those recent very strong winds across particularly northern England will just be abating as the day goes on. The front towards the southwest may just produce a few spits and spots of rain across the hills of East Wales, but it shouldn't amount to more than spots in the wind, so it's still a dry story on the whole, and plenty of sunshine across Scotland. You can see as the isobars just open out a little bit for Sunday that winds will be lighter, but just watch for a north to northeasterly extending into the northeastern highlands, winds just strengthening there. We've got weak fronts just over the North Sea, and what they will tend to do is just give greater amounts of cloud, particularly towards more northeastern districts, but away towards the west, plenty of sunshine and feeling warm in those light winds. Not too much change from Monday. Again, those fronts just out over the North Sea, very weak features, but it could just be giving that bit more cloud across more northern and eastern mountains, Scotland, maybe just towards the eastern side of the Yorkshire Dales even as well. But across the west, plenty of sunshine, winds generally light, another warm feeling day. Now, this chart shows you temperatures. Hopefully you can just about make out the outline of the British Isles in grey on this image. This is at 925 millibars. Now that corresponds roughly to about Munro height. That 8.6 value over Scotland is 860 metres above sea level. So that's the rough height that we're looking at for these temperatures on this chart. This is for Sunday. Just see how northern Scotland is feeling some cooler air coming in. So where you're exposed, particularly on those northern tops in the far north across the Cairngorms, you won't be too far above freezing, but generally the freezing level should be above the summits. And then come more towards the west and the southwestern highlands, anywhere Skye and Torridon southwards, and much warmer temperatures. It may even be a bit warmer than shown here. 7 or 8 Celsius at that height, perhaps warmer than that locally. Likewise across England and Wales, warmest generally away towards the west. Now, we'll run this on over a few days and just see how the temperature trend does continue. This then going forwards overnight into Monday. Temperatures hovering close to freezing on those higher Munros, but as soon as the sun comes up, a bit of warming getting going, and during the daytime, you'll be lifting to around 5 to 8 Celsius, warmest again, always away towards western Scotland. Just taking these temperatures down a little bit to the heights of the Pennines, you'll be looking at around 3 to 6 Celsius, just lifting through the day. Just to run things on into midweek, and just as we lose that northeasterly flow through the middle part of the week, the zone of warmer temperatures just topples more broadly across the country. That's through into Tuesday afternoon. If we just skip on through into Wednesday as well, you'll just see how the warmth extends more widely across the British Isles at that stage. Warmest temperatures probably more across the Pennines and Wales. Meanwhile, across the Scottish Munros, you'll be ranging somewhere between around 3 or 4 in the far north to around 7 or 8 across the more southern regions of the Highlands. And a similar theme towards the end of the week. Warmest value is more across the south of Britain, a little bit cooler across Scotland, but temperatures I suspect just lifting a little bit as the flow turns to the south around Thursday, Friday. Detail uncertain, and it's around then when the more breakdown to more unsettled weather is looking likely. So if we just step back and look at the big picture across the Atlantic and Europe, this then is the chart for around Wednesday, and it's just then when things are starting to change. We're losing the high pressure that will have been to the north. We've got something of a low that has drifted in from Greenland towards Iceland, and just noticed as well the low between the Azores and Biscay. Fairly slack pressure at this stage across Britain. Through then into Thursday, Friday, we just see how low pressure just begins to envelop the British Isles. A lot of uncertainty just how the detail develops by this stage, but the idea of becoming more unsettled as low pressure becomes more dominant. I think areas of showers, some longer periods of rain possible, although I think a bit of a stop-start breakdown, so not everywhere will see rain initially, but just I suspect as we go into that weekend, that's the 13th, 14th of May, expect some showers to be in the forecast, so it's that more changeable story than what we've just been used to, and I think really that may well continue into the following week. This goes forward into Monday, Tuesday, low pressure, broadly suggested across the country. Don't take any great detail out of this chart, we can't get it out of it at this stage, but the idea is there that it's rather unsettled. Some hints of pressure just trying to rebuild then from the Atlantic as time goes on. That's more toward the end of that week. Very, very tentative with those details, but it might just be that there's something better further ahead. But for now, I think an unsettled outlook is developing by mid-May. We'll update this video again on Tuesday with the latest thoughts for that following weekend. Don't forget, all the latest forecasts are available every single day here at the Mountain Weather Information Service. You can also follow us on Twitter, our address there on the screen. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.